The mercenary group leader who led a rebellion against Vladimir Putin is presumed dead. According to Russian media, Yevgeny Prigozhin, the Wagner group leader who led an attempted coup against Vladimir Putin, was in a plane crash north of Moscow. Video circulating online appears to show the moment the plane broke apart and fell out of the sky, killing all 10 people on board. Let's bring in ABC News contributor, former Defense and State Department official, Colonel Steve Ganyard, and ABC News national security and defense analyst Mick Mulroy for more. Colonel Ganyard, this incident is raising a lot of eyebrows. What's your reaction to hearing this man who led an attempted coup against Vladimir Putin is now presumed dead?
Diane, surprise, but the surprise is that it didn't happen earlier. There was a famous interview that Putin did in 2018 where he said everything can be forgiven except betrayal. He has talked about his enemies in the past, that they must die and they must suffer. And so the fact that Prigozhin lasted as long as he did is actually the real surprise here.
Mick, Prigozhin helped to launch the Wagner group toward the beginning of the Ukraine-Russia war. What happens to the group now?
Well, Diane, that might have been why it took so long for this to happen. I would agree with Steve. It was kind of surprising that Prigozhin did last this long, but it might have been because the Kremlin was trying to figure out what to do with the Wagner group, how to continue the operations that they deemed successful, i.e. made them money. And they might have figured that out, and that's why we saw what we saw last night, if, in fact, Prigozhin was killed in that aircraft, which is likely the case.
Steve, video circulating online also shows the wreckage filmed from a car passing by. Can you tell us anything about how this happened based on the videos we've seen so far?
Yeah, Diane, there are a few clues, but they're just that, clues. They aren't nothing definitive that we can see. Part of the wreckage, you can see puncture holes, which would at least suggest that it would be either a surface-to-air or an air-to-air missile. You remember when MH17 was shot down by Russian sympathizers in Donetsk, that we saw that on the airplane's outer skin, where you had these puncture marks of shrapnel. There was also, in one of the early videos, very early on, it looked like a smoke contrail that would either come from surface-to-air missile or an air-to-air missile. So those are tantalizing clues. It could have been a bomb. We don't see that sort of outward deformation that you would see in a bomb. So lots of clues here, but the thing that's most interesting to me is that the Kremlin has been very tight-lipped. All they want to do here is send a message. They aren't looking to solve the mystery. They just want to send a clear message to the other elites who might be contemplating any sort of a coup against Putin himself.
And Mick, we know Prigozhin's soldiers were active on the battlefield in Ukraine. So what, if any, effect does this have on the Ukrainian counteroffensive?
So most of the Wagner forces had left and been repositioned in Belarus. So I don't think this is going to have a substantial effect in Ukraine necessarily, except for there's going to be a lot of his Wagner soldiers who have serious problems with this happening. So that's something that they may have tried to do by having some deniability with how this was done rather than a public execution. But that's what the consequences I see potentially to the Kremlin is they could have a rebellion on their hands, but one that they're likely could easily put down.
All right, Colonel Steve Ganyard, Mick Mulroy, thank you both.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.